nak habiskan Kak Sarah nak habiskan bab 2 untuk tingkatan 4 untuk nasionalisme. Lepas tu Kak Sarah nak masuk ke bab 3 sebab I want to just talk about bits and pieces there. Okay? So everybody ready ya? Just give me a thumbs up kalau sesiapa dah ready.
Dah.
Okay, terima kasih. Wah, cepatnya. Okay, jom. So hari ni kita nak tengok, kalau the last time kita orang dah discuss, mungkin kita discuss tentang perkembangan nasionalisme. Kita tahu sebenarnya dalam bab 2 ada banyak sangat tentang jenis-jenis nasionalisme. Apakah gerakan nasionalisme di Siam? You know, kita dah tahu sebenarnya Siam punya tak sama dengan gerakan nasionalisme di Filipina. Kita tahu ada Jose Rizal, kita tahu ada Katipunan. Kita tahu di Indonesia ada orang seperti Soekarno, Parti Nasional Indonesia. Kita ada orang seperti oh my god, Raden Ajeng Kartini. Wow, brain. So kita ada semua manusia macam ini, semua manusia biasa sebenarnya yang ingin membawa kebaikan kepada tanah air. Okay, so we all already know, kalau kita tak ada kesedaran, then we're never going to get anywhere. That is why kita dah discuss sebenarnya tentang kesedaran nasionalisme di negara kita. Kita tahu apa sebenarnya faktor kemunculan gerakan nasionalisme. Kita tahu kenapa perlunya nasionalisme. Macam mana ada gerakan nasionalisme. Kita tahu sebab adanya peranan agama. As you guys dah tahu, di tanah Melayu memang kita orang punya agama is agama Islam. So memang banyak orang akan datang nak menyebarkan ataupun nak belajar tentang agama Islam. And of course everybody come here because kita memang tempat yang ada banyak orang yang beragama Islam. So everybody want to come here and learn from us, right? So sini kita tengok ada banyak juga pelajar yang pergi ke Timur Tengah, they go to Middle East, they go to Mesir, diorang pergi belajar sana. Lepas diorang dah belajar, diorang pun dah macam wow, kalau I pergi kat Universiti Al-Azhar di Mesir, I belajar sebenarnya, ada banyak sangat benda yang kita boleh buat untuk dunia kita. Banyak sangat kita boleh berbakti kepada negara kita. Kenapa I boleh buat benda kat sini, bila I balik kat tanah Melayu, I tak boleh buat? Kenapa British tak bagi I buat? So, orang seperti Syed Jamal Al-Din Al-Afghani, Sheikh Muhammad Abdu, Rashid Rida, ini semua nama sebenarnya kita dah belajar ya, dengan gerakan Pan-Islamisme, gerakan Islah, di Asia, kita dah tahu memang mereka ada gerakan di sana. So semua gerakan Islah ni menyeru umat Islam untuk kembali kepada ajaran Islam yang sebenar. Kalau tak tahu apa-apa, always go back to the Quran. Quran will give you the answer. Hadis will give you the answer. Okay? And of course, dengan gerakan Islah kita nak menentang imperialisme Barat. Kenapa dia orang nak menentang imperialisme Barat? Because imperialisme Barat bawa budaya sekular di negara-negara Islam. So mereka ingin mempertahankan agama mereka dan juga ingin mempertahankan keadilan. So bila British datang, dia orang menindas orang kita. So we want to get up and we want to get up and fight. Okay? So number 1, peranan agama. Kedua, dengan penulisan kreatif. Kita tahu dulu kita tak ada TV, kita orang tak ada WhatsApp, kita tak ada social media, kita tak ada benda-benda macam ni untuk bagi kesedaran tentang apa yang tengah berlaku di negara kita atau tentang apa yang berlaku di dunia. So dulu, who do we rely on? We rely on penulisan kreatif. Apa itu penulisan kreatif? In English, we call it creative writing. So, novel, cerpen, kita ada puisi. Ini semua digunakan oleh tokoh nasionalis sebagai wadah. Apa itu wadah? Wadah itu alat. Okay? It is an alat, it is a way for us to use and talk about keperitan hidup bangsa. Betapa susahnya hidup kita di bawah imperialis Barat. Macam mana hidup kita merana kerana British yang buatkan hidup kita merana. Kita tak ada duit, kita tak ada makanan, kita tak ada boleh buat, cannot do anything, tak ada kuasa, tak ada apa-apa. So they write it in the books. So bila kita baca, okay, kita akan baca macam wow. Sebenarnya, I tahu macam mana it feels like. I tahu betapa peritnya nak jadi manusia ataupun penduduk tempatan di tanah Melayu. Wow, takkan nak duduk sini je baca tentang keperitan hidup I. Jomlah I bangun, jomlah I berjuang untuk kawasan I ataupun berjuang untuk tanah air I. Okay, that is why they say here, memberikan impak kepada rakyat untuk menaikkan semangat. Bila kita ada sebenarnya kan guys, dalam dunia ini ada banyak orang yang tak tahu sebenarnya what kind of life we are living. Banyak macam tak sedar sebenarnya betapa susah ni hidup. So sini, bila kita baca novel, bila kita baca cerpen, puisi, kita sebenarnya tahu dengan lebih. macam mana hidup kita? Apa realiti hidup kita? Apa realiti hidup kita bila kita dijajah? So, do we want to sit down here and wait and sedih forever? Ataupun kita nak bangun and kita nak cari cara untuk berjaya? Okay, kita tahu sebenarnya masalah kita apa. Dan macam mana kita tahu masalah kita? Dengan penulisan kreatif. So, kita kena ingat story seperti novel ditulis oleh Harun Aminur Rashid, Melur Kuala Lumpur, dan cerita Awang Putat oleh Abdul Rahim Kajai. Later on we will discuss about Abdul Rahim Kajai again. Kita ada karya-karya yang ditulis oleh Pak Sako. Pak Sako namanya ialah Ishak Haji Muhammad. Okay, tetapi that is a nickname that was given by to him bila time-time pendudukan Jepun. So that's why they call him Pak Sako. Okay, so dua karya yang sangat-sangat penting untuk nasionalisme Melayu, Putera Gunung Tahan dan Anak Mak Lela Gila. Okay, so bila kita baca, mungkin penjajah kita tak akan faham apa yang ditulis dalam novel ini. Tapi kita sebagai penduduk tanah air, kita tahu, we can relate. We're like, wow, I know how this feels like. Okay, so that's number 2. Nombor 3 dengan media cetak. Media cetak will be print media, guys. So again, Kak Sarah dah cakap, kita memang tak ada internet dulu. Kita tak ada TV, kita ada radio je. Okay, so kalau radio is just for us to listen. Tapi kita kena baca. That's why, especially dalam agama Islam, apa pentingnya pendidikan atau membaca. The more we read, the more we are aware of the world that we live in, kan? So media cetak seperti akhbar dan juga majalah is very important kerana mereka merupakan penyalur maklumat dan penyebar berita. Dulu kita tak tahu. Macam hari ni, if let's say Kak Sarah sakit, tak boleh have class last minute, immediately kat Telegram ke mana-mana akan tahu immediately. Someone will be able to tell you, oh, tak ada kelas hari ini, kan? Tapi dulu, if let's say somebody pass away, something happen, it will take a while before we know because kita perlukan media cetak, right? Not everybody will have access to each other. Not everybody can communicate with each other. So, the best way to do it is dengan media cetak, okay? So, kita ada Jawi Peranakan, akhbar awal yang menegur campur tangan British, yang beranilah sebenarnya nak tanya tentang soal agama Islam di Singapura, isu bahasa Melayu, kenapa kita tak guna bahasa Melayu dalam pentadbiran atau digunakan sebagai bahasa rasmi. Itu memang berani, guys, sebab British memang ada undang-undang yang cakap kita tak boleh we cannot criticize ataupun kita tak boleh tegur dia orang. If they find out that kita orang tegur dia orang dalam kita orang punya akhbar, they will find us. Okay, next one kita ada akhbar seperti Sekolah Melayu, obviously digunakan di sekolah sebagai bahan pembacaan, and that's why we always say, especially dulu bila kasar kat sekolah, very important to read newspaper, not just to know about whatever that's happening in this world, but also mungkin untuk belajar macam mana nak tulis dengan lebih cekap, maybe learn new words. Okay, so again, dulu kalau tak ada akses dengan library ke, tak ada akses dengan buku-buku ke, we can always use the newspaper. Okay, that's why kita juga ada akhbar seperti Al-Imam. Okay, kita ada neraca, kita ada pengasuh. Pengasuh is like a nanny in English, right? Pengasuh is somebody that takes care of you, and that's really the job of the persatuan. Their job is to take care of you, take care of your mind, help you figure out where to go. Okay, then kita ada Fajar Sarawak yang diterajui oleh Angkatan Intelektual Melayu. Okay, apa yang diorang berani buat? Mereka berani untuk mengkritik dasar pemerintahan buruk. Diorang berani, again sama macam Jawi Peranakan, berani untuk tulis dalam akhbar diorang, woi, kerajaan buruk ni atau keluarga buruk ni, wow, memang tak berguna atau memang tak tolong kita. Wow, memang diorang buat macam ni untuk menindas kita. So again, very, very brave. And most importantly, guys, diorang tak cakap kat sini, tetapi media cetak sebagai penyalur maklumat dan penyebar berita, it is very, very cheap. And most importantly, semua orang boleh dapat akses dengan this akhbar. So let's say hari ni Kak Sarah beli akhbar, right? Mungkin at that time 10-20 sen. Kak Sarah beli, lepas Kak Sarah dah baca, I don't need it anymore. So I dah bagi one person. I give one person to read, then another person read, and another person read. So one, it's very cheap. Number two, lebih banyak orang boleh baca because it's so cheap, and then we can just keep passing it on to everybody. Okay, so that is why media cetak is the best way untuk menyebarkan berita dan menyalurkan maklumat. Okay, so these are the two guys, Muhammad Rakawi, Johari Anang. These are very, very important guys to remember. Now kita obviously nak tengok sistem pendidikan. Sistem pendidikan kita ada madrasah. Ingat, madrasah merupakan sekolah agama. Madrasah di Johor Bahru, di Pulau Pinang, di Kuala Kangsar. Kenapa adanya madrasah? All of this is untuk menyebarkan idea kemajuan dan pemodenan. Kita boleh belajar tentang agama kita, tapi it's also very important untuk kita belajar tentang macam mana kita memodernkan diri, macam mana kita memodernkan masyarakat. Kita sebagai pelajar, itu memang tanggungjawab kita untuk membawa pemodenan kepada rakyat ataupun masyarakat kita. Papa pergi sekolah, belajar, habis itu tak tolong rakyat. That's the point. I belajar so that I can go back to my people, my masyarakat and help them. Okay, then kita ada Raffles Institution di Singapura, kita ada Malay College Kuala Kangsar, also known as MCKK, and then there's also Sultan Idris Training College, SITC. Ni semua adalah college ataupun maktab untuk produce teachers. Okay, we need teachers. We need teachers to teach students, this is correct, this is wrong, this is what's happening. Okay, very, very important untuk menolong rakyat menuntut hak mendapatkan pendidikan. Again guys, kalau kita ingat dengan nasionalisme di Indonesia sebelum bermula dengan Raden Ajeng Kartini, dengan bukunya, dengan surat-surat yang diberi ataupun yang dihantar kepada kawan-kawannya di Eropah, kenapa perlunya pendidikan? Kalau kita tak ada pendidikan, kita tak tahu macam mana nak baca bahasa penjajah, then whatever yang penjajah bagi kita untuk tanda tangan, apa yang penjajah suruh kita buat, dasar yang penjajah suruh kita melakukan, all of those things we will never be able to say anything sebab kita tak tahu. So kalau kita tak tahu, kita macam you buatlah, whatever lah. So if we let go, then will we ever be in power? No. That's why pentingnya kita dapatkan pendidikan. Alright, and then through pendidikan kita juga didedahkan dengan idea tokoh-tokoh falsafat Islam dan juga Barat, okay? Dan juga memperlihatkan kelemahan bangsa yang dijajah. So at the same time, bila kita belajar tentang falsafat dunia lain, falsafat negara lain, kita pun belajar kenapa bila I belajar kat sini, I belajar that ada ni kebebasan bersuara. Kenapa bila I baca tentang kebebasan bersuara di England, I tak boleh ada kebebasan bersuara di Tanah Melayu? Kenapa? So that's when we start asking. That's when kita boleh mendesak British untuk melakukan pembaharuan. That's why it goes all the way back to perkataan nasionalisme. Nasionalisme bukan sahaja perasaan yang cinta mendalam untuk negara kita. Tak cukup untuk kita cakap, I love Malaysia. Tak cukup. Kalau kita betul-betul love Malaysia, it is our tanggungjawab in order to make sure people are responsible. You understand, guys? Okay, we have to be a gerakan, a movement to do the things that we want people to do. Okay, so here SITC dijadikan medan ilmu untuk berbincang dan juga menghasilkan karya nasionalisme. So SITC is not just to produce teachers, but SITC is also a way for them to sit down, talk, also for them to come up with new books, new writing, new essays, so that all the masyarakat di Tanah Melayu boleh baca. Okay, dan meningkatkan kesedaran politik. Next one, of course, dengan adanya sistem pendidikan, kita ada golongan intelektual yang muncul. Like Sheikh Al-Hadi yang menggerakkan idea pembaharuan dalam masyarakat lepas balik. Okay, sesiapa yang balik dari Timur Tengah. Kita ada lepasan pendidikan Inggeris dan Melayu, Abdul Kadir Adabi, Datuk Undang Rembau, Abdullah Haji Dahan. Before I continue, mesti ada student yang nak tanya Kak Sarah, kena ingat ke nama-nama manusia ni? Kalau kita tak ingat, kalau kita tak letak dalam kita orang punya jawapan, maknanya kita tak dapat huraikan kita orang punya fakta, which means that mesti salah. Okay, so yes, kena ingat nama dia ialah Ibrahim Haji Yaakob. Kena ingat. Dek, kalau kita tengok sini Ustaz Abu Bakar Muhammad Said. Let's say dalam bracket dia letak Abu Bakar Al-Bakir. Kalau letak Abu Bakar Al-Bakir, that's fine. Tetapi kalau kita letak Ibrahim Yaakob atau just Ibrahim. Ibrahim apa? Ada banyak sangat Ibrahim di dunia ni. So you have to be very, very specific. Ibrahim Haji Yaakob. Okay, again, macam mana dia orang nak menyalurkan maklumat, macam mana nak sedarkan rakyat tentang nasionalisme, apa kita patut buat untuk bangun. They do all of this melalui akhbar dan juga persatuan bersifat socio-ekonomi. Again, to remind everybody, socio-ekonomi, our social life is based on our economic activity. Macam mana we live is really because of the work that we do and how much money we earn and what is our life like, right? So persatuan sosioekonomi ni basically nak tolong membangkitkan penduduk tempatan lah. Okay, especially those yang mungkin tak dapat kerja ke, mungkin tak dapat pergi sekolah ke, mungkin tak dapat peluang untuk menjawat jawatan yang lebih tinggi, obviously earn more money. So persatuan sosioekonomi is there in order to fight for Malay people, especially penduduk tempatan, in order for them to have better lives in Malaya. Okay, dan juga kita ada pengaruh luar dan serantau. Kita ada kebangkitan pan-Islamisme di Empire Uthmaniyah. So dengan pan-Islamisme kita dah tahu, kita sebenarnya kena bersatu padu sebagai umat Islam untuk menentang ancaman luar, right? So it's not just in Turkey, it's also all over the world. Kita ingatkan tentang Tok Janggut, kita pun tahu tentang gerakan Islam di Mesir. Oh, again, kita mesti ada pembaharuan yang progresif. That means we must be a bit more understanding about agama kita. Macam mana kita boleh guna agama kita sebagai and prinsip-prinsip agama kita sebagai aset untuk membangunkan diri sendiri, membangunkan kita orang punya rakyat, kan? On top of that, kita ada Jepun. Jepun is in Asia dan Jepun muncul sebagai kuasa besar dunia. Macam mana? Because Jepun sebenarnya menewaskan Rusia at some point. Dia orang ada peperangan yang dikenali sebagai perang Rusia-Jepun, in English known as the Russo-Japanese War. Small island that is Japan. Big country like Russia. So ingat guys, bila kita menang atau kita kalah dalam peperangan, tak kena mengena dengan saiz negara kita. Sebenarnya ada kena mengena dengan kebijaksanaan untuk mengatur strategi. Okay, and this is a very important key part answer whenever we talk about Japan. Okay, all of this is about kebijaksanaan mengatur strategi. Okay, mungkin semangat, gigih berusaha. People like the Japanese ada semangat Bushido. They will never give up. Okay, dia orang tak setia sangat kepada maharaja mereka. Dia orang tak nak, they don't want to embarrass themselves. They don't want to embarrass dia orang punya maharaja di Jepun. So they will keep going and going and going. That is semangat gigih berusaha, tidak berputus asa. Right? So all of those things membuka mata kita. Oi, kalau Jepun boleh menang over Russia yang besar dan berkuasa, wow, then we can do it. Okay, and on top of that, kita ada revolusi Cina, ya pimpinan Dr. Sun Yat-sen. Kita dah tahu Dr. Sun Yat-sen and gang dapat menggulingkan dinasti Manchu di China, basically got rid of the last emperor of China, and then menewaskan kerajaan Manchuria. They definitely dapat menubuhkan sebuah negara republik. Dah tak ada sistem beraja dah. Okay, then of course kita ada Mahatma Gandhi di India. We watched the video about that before. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi di India definitely macam betul-betul buat British sakit kepala, okay, untuk menentang British tanpa kekerasan. And then on top of that, kita ada Jose Rizal di Filipina. Kita pun dah tahu tentang cerita sedih macam mana Jose Rizal meninggal dunia. Simple lah guys. Jose Rizal is one of the para nasionalis yang paling terawal di Asia Tenggara. Buku-buku seperti Nolemi Tangere, El Filibusterismo. Ini memang karya-karya yang memberi kita semangat. Okay, again, we can do it without punching people in the face. We can do it without having to kill anybody. Okay, because again, kalau kita bunuh British ataupun kita orang guna kekerasan terhadap British, kita sebenarnya akan kalah sebab yang selalu ada teknologi yang lebih canggih ataupun senjata yang lebih canggih is always the British. Okay, so we have to find a way to get up and fight them. And how do we fight them? Using our brains. Okay, so now we go on to perkembangan nasionalisme. Macam mana kita orang punya nasionalisme di tanah Melayu berkembang? Kita ada banyak saluran melalui golongan intelektual seperti golongan berpendidikan agama, dan kita ada golongan berpendidikan Inggeris dan golongan berpendidikan Melayu. Okay, not to say that diorang semua ada diorang ada motif-motif yang tersendiri, tidak. It's just that it depends on where they study. Okay, so those yang berpendidikan agama, mereka digelar sebagai kaum muda. Diorang yang pergi ke Universiti Al-Azhar di Mesir, bawa idea tu, terpengaruh dengan idea-idea di sana, bawa balik, okay, and then made us realize that wow, ada banyak benda kita boleh lakukan untuk memperbaiki hidup kita di tanah Melayu. So, one of the things that kaum muda used is untuk menyebarkan fahaman gerakan Islah. How do they do that? Dengan penubuhan madrasah. Kita nak umat Islam dan juga penduduk Melayu untuk bangkit. Macam mana kita nak suruh diorang bangkit kalau diorang tak ada access to education? If they have no access to education, they don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, then how are we going to get up and fight against the British? How? So, very important to menubuhkan madrasah. Okay, because for them, okay, bila kita ada pendidikan, bila kita ada madrasah, ini akan membawa kesan positif kepada masyarakat. Okay, and then so when these kids go to school, okay, those pelajar yang dapat masuk ke madrasah, diorang dapat membawa kemajuan dan pemodenan dari aspek sikap dan pentafsiran terhadap Islam. At the same time, most importantly, okay, wanita diberi peluang untuk belajar di madrasah. I want to make this clear, guys. Tak ada mana dalam agama kita yang cakap that sebenarnya kepentingan membaca hanya untuk kaum lelaki. Kepentingan membaca ini very, very, very important kepada semua umat Islam. Kalau kita orang tak ada, kita tak faham tentang kepentingan membaca, kita orang tak, we don't pay attention to education, we don't give ourselves the chance to learn, to know more about the world, fikiran kita akan sempit. Okay, and then of course there's a lot of things in this world that we cannot fix. So here, women are allowed to be given education, they get to go to school. On top of that, bila diorang pergi sekolah, diorang akan belajar not just about agama Islam, diorang pun akan belajar tentang subjek-subjek lain. They learn about maths, they also learn about sejarah, and of course bahasa and all that. Okay, so on top of that, kaum muda kalau menubuhkan madrasah, mereka juga menyalurkan idea-idea mereka melalui akhbar dan juga majalah seperti Al-Imam, Al-Ikhwan, Neraca, Tunas Melayu. Non-Muslim students, if you guys don't know what is an imam, imam is the person who leads the prayers. So if they call their newspaper Al-Imam, it's because they are leading the way. Okay, just think about that. They are leading the way to get us to think of new ways to live in our community. Okay, so ini Al-Imam. Alright, so ini adalah garapan idea ulama yang menyeru umat Islam supaya kembali kepada ajaran Islam yang sebenar. And again ya guys, nak kembali kepada ajaran Islam yang sebenar means that kita tak payah pergi tengok sesiapa, tanya apa kita patut buat. Most importantly, whatever we need to know about macam mana kita nak mengendalikan agama kita, macam mana nak mengendalikan pentadbiran kita is melalui Quran dan juga hadis. Okay? Always remember, that is your number one textbook. The Quran will tell you what to do. Okay, so bila kita nak, we want to discuss about the drama tentang kaum muda dengan kaum tua. I want to make this clear. Kaum muda punya drama and kaum tua punya drama bukan kena mengena dengan usia. Nothing to do with age. Okay, it's got nothing to do with umur. Nothing to do with that. Okay, it's not that ulama kaum tua semua tua lah, semua old school. It's not just that, and it's not that kaum muda or young guys. The reason why they're called tua and muda is because of idea mereka. Okay, that means idea yang disalurkan, idea baru atau idea yang disalurkan kaum tua is basically idea-idea yang macam dah lama kita ada dalam masyarakat kita. Okay, so kaum muda datang dengan konsep untuk membawa pembaharuan seperti pentafsiran Islam, we allow girls to go to school, kembali kepada ajaran Islam yang sebenar, gunakan Al-Quran sebagai panduan. The point about kaum muda dengan kaum tua, diorang punya perselisihan is tentang macam mana kita nak mengendalikan agama kita. Okay, or what is most important, like untuk kaum muda is about fardu ain, like it's about like how much you know about the Quran, it's about hidup kita lepas lepas kita dah mati, it's all about akhirat, right? But for kaum muda it's like, okay, yes, agama is very important, tetapi kita juga harus memastikan that kita ada kemajuan di dunia. Sebab kalau kita kat dunia pun kita dah fail, akhirat tak tahulah. Okay, so I want to make this clear, kaum muda dengan kaum tua punya drama and perselisihan mereka tidak kena mengena dengan agama macam kepercayaan agama. So it's not like kaum muda datang cakap, oh sebenarnya ada dua Tuhan. Coy, tak ada. Okay, it's nothing to do with all the fundamental things about Islam. It's just about the way we handle it. So kalau kaum tua macam kita kena ingat that it doesn't really matter what is our job position. Kita harus selalu dengar cakap sultan, kita kena dengar cakap and baca Quran X number of times, that kind of stuff, right? Whereas kaum muda is like, yes, important, tapi bacalah buku sikit, bro. Okay, so again, perselisihan fahaman tak ada kena mengena dengan tak ada kena dengan kepercayaan agama lah. Okay, just remember that. Because I think a lot of students get this wrong. A lot of students think that kaum muda ni datang dengan idea gila or whatever, nothing. It's just about the way we handle the religion, okay? And how we live our lives. So then kita ada akhbar yang berkembang seperti Al-Imam di negeri-negeri Selat dan certain areas of Alam Melayu. You have to know that ulama kaum tua mereka ada banyak pengaruh lah. A lot of pengaruh dengan sultan-sultan di negeri-negeri Melayu. So ada kawasan di negeri, ada some areas di negeri-negeri Melayu yang macam yang tak bagi chance lah kat kaum muda untuk menyebarkan idea mereka di negeri mereka. Okay, so that's why kaum muda can only move around negeri-negeri Selat because negeri-negeri Selat is not really a negeri Melayu, it's under the British. Okay, alright, and then so on top of that, there ada akhbar Neraca. Neraca is one of those super like newspapers yang macam also berani untuk menyuarakan rasa tidak puas hati mereka juga. And on top of that, ni mungkin susah sikit lah untuk banyak masyarakat. Okay, Neraca pun tak takut untuk mengkritik sikap dan mentaliti masyarakat pada masa itu. Kenapalah perempuan tak nak pergi sekolah? Kenapalah nak duduk dalam kitchen je, nak masak? Kenapalah nak kahwin je? Hello, you also need to study. So mentality. Kenapalah tak nak kerja? Kenapalah nak 4 isteri? That kind of stuff, right? So diorang mengkritik sikap dan mentality masyarakat itu. Not to mengkritik atau buka aib orang, nothing like that. It's more like, okay guys, we have the potential to be 100%. You're at 40% thinking you're 100%. You cannot. You should be at 100%. And here we are here to tell you, you can do better. Okay, not to marah you and say that you are useless. It's more like, come on, let's get up, let's do something. Okay, and of course, ada banyak orang yang macam tak puas hati lah. That Neraca tu macam berani sangat nak cakap, bangunlah, jangan malas. Okay, so that's perjuangan golongan intelektual berpendidikan agama. Kita ada intelektual berpendidikan Inggeris. A lot of these people, kita nampak nama dia orang dalam golongan intelektual berpendidikan Inggeris. A lot of them are children or royalty lah, children of like kings or their royalty. Okay, dia orang semua datang dari keluarga diraja. Okay, so kalau kita tengok Maktab Melayu Kuala Kangsar yang ditubuhkan 1905, diorang punya peranan is very simple. Okay, their job is, tugas mereka untuk melahirkan intelektual berpendidikan Inggeris. And really, maktab ini ditubuhkan untuk melatih anak bangsawan bagi diserapkan dalam pentadbiran kerajaan British. So very simple. Sini diorang nak anak bangsawan, so the golongan elite Melayu. And as you guys know, raja kita, okay, all the raja of all the negeri Melayu, they got 1 wife, 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, so many wives, right? So many children. So only one guy get to become the raja. Everybody else, all how? Nak makan apa? Right? So maktab Melayu Kuala Kangsar ini digunakan untuk melatih anak bangsawan. Sesiapa yang tak dapat can nak jadi raja, tak dapat can nak jadi macam crown prince or the next in line or the third or fourth or fifth line to the throne, okay, diorang diserapkan dalam pentadbiran kerajaan British, tapi kena belajar dulu. Okay, so bila diorang dah graduate, diorang jadikan lepasan maktab, dan diorang boleh gunakan kedudukan mereka untuk suarakan semangat nasionalisme ataupun menyuarakan hak mendapat pendidikan untuk orang Melayu. So as golongan elite, tanggungjawab mereka is to go belajar dalam MCKK, lepas tu masuk dalam kerajaan and then go to the kerajaan and be like, yo, today I want to talk about why kita ada macam 5% je orang Melayu masuk sekolah Melayu ataupun masuk sekolah Inggeris. Kenapa so little? Kenapa kita tak ada pekerja Melayu dalam office kita? Stuff like that. Alright? Thank you, Marciela, for that line. Okay, and then lepasan maktab kita ada Raja Chulan, Raja Abdullah, Mahmud Mat, Muhammad Yunus Abdullah, his name is going to come back later, Raja Uda, Raja Muhammad, semua bertugas sebagai pegawai kerajaan menuntut untuk British memperbaik taraf hidup orang Melayu. So they all get jobs in the British government, they all work as pegawai or officer, and diorang semua every day tanya, mendesak British, hello, bila you nak bagi peluang kepada orang Melayu, hello. And on top of that, they also help to membuka lebih banyak peluang pekerjaan kepada orang Melayu dalam jabatan. Hari ni I nampak macam jabatan kita macam tak ada orang Melayu kerja. I je orang Melayu seorang. Can we have more Malay people in here? Can we have some representation? And then the British, yelah, it's so annoying. Hayalah, some more guys to work for us lah. Like that lah. That's how kita dapat membuka lebih banyak peluang pekerjaan. Anybody here know a little thing or two about Raja Chulan? Raja Abdullah? Siapa? Anybody nak try? Anybody? Kenal tak Raja Chulan ni? Besides the name of the road.
Boleh nak cakap, saya kenal sebab dia ada jalan Raja Chulan.
Bagus. Ya, bagus. Bagus.
Raja
Betul,
Abdullah pun
right?
ada dekat Kampung Baru.
Tengok tu, banyak kan. So Raja Chulan ini seorang tokoh, obviously, tokoh negara kita. And you guys know that semua jalan kita di negara kita, semua nama is all based on nama-nama tokoh, nama-nama sultan, right? Tetapi Raja Chulan ini anak kepada Raja Abdullah. So you have to know that Raja Chulan. So I want to make this clear, pada sesiapa yang tak tahu, bila nama someone's name is Raja, it doesn't automatically mean that he's a king, tau. He's not the sultan, okay? It's Raja, bila ada title atau gelaran Raja Chulan. So for example, it means that he is a member of the royal family. Okay? Anybody here know who's his father? Anybody? Besides tadi Putra cakap that Raja Chulan ni jalan kat KL. Okay guys, to remind you guys so that you will remember siapa Raja Chulan, Raja Abdullah ini. Raja Chulan merupakan anak kepada Sultan Abdullah atau Raja Abdullah. Raja Abdullah ni datang dari Perak. Okay, you all remember the drama and the story about JWW Birch dan juga Datuk Maharaja Lela, pahlawan atau pembesar di Pasir Salak di Perak. So basically, Sultan Abdullah ini ataupun Raja Abdullah, he was the guy that menandatangani perjanjian Pangkor that allowed the British to masuk into Perak and then take over Perak and then later on help to make negeri-negeri Melayu bersekutu because Perak memang kaya dengan biji timah. Everybody silent, meaning that everybody don't know this story. So always remember guys, Raja Chulan, Raja Abdullah. Why is Raja Abdullah such an important name? Because Raja Abdullah atau Sultan Abdullah, he was part of the drama because at that time diorang ada pembesar namanya Datuk Maharaja Lela. And Datuk Maharaja Lela ialah pembesar di kawasan dikenali sebagai Pasir Salak. And di Perak, diorang punya sistem pewarisan is sistem giliran. Okay, so it's not like, oh, I am the Raja, then bila like I meninggal dunia, then my son take over. It's not like that. Sistem giliran is where like you have 3 position, okay, before you get a chance to become sultan. So you actually get a lot of like macam experience lah sebelum you jadi sultan. So you don't become, you're not like, you know, your father died and then you're like 6 years old and then you become sultan and you don't know what to do, right? So Sultan Abdullah ini ada drama sebenarnya dengan Sultan lain, Sultan Ismail. And so diorang ada macam pertelingkahan, diorang ada macam ada banyak pergolakan, diorang semua rebut untuk takhta di Perak, and then British masuk, and then at that time ada drama dengan like golongan kongsi gelap, Gihin, Haisan, especially because these kongsi gelap punya groups, diorang semua macam kerja dengan kawasan perlombongan, so so much drama. That's why the British masuk, and then the British like got them to sign perjanjian Pangkor, which they signed in Pangkor, okay, to get them to allow the British to tolong and tempatkan resident. And resident pertama yang ditempatkan di Perak ialah JWW Birch. JWW Birch ni seorang yang tak boleh cakap dalam, tak boleh like tak fasih lah cakap bahasa Melayu, and then nak tukar banyak macam adat resam di tanah Melayu, di Perak actually. And so Datuk Maharaja Lela ni memang tak puas hati lah dengan Birch ni. And so he was the mastermind together with all the other guys, and including Raja Abdullah and Raja Ismail, to bunuh JWW Birch, and that's what they did. They bunuh JWW Birch, and so as a result of that, Datuk Maharaja Lela, walaupun he wasn't there to physically kill, tapi he was the mastermind, right? So diorang macam gantung, diorang just hukum gantung lah to all of the guys involved. Tetapi diorang tak boleh bunuh like sultan, right? Ataupun raja. So what the British did was, because they knew that Raja Abdullah actually knew about this murder, so they actually buang negeri. They kicked him out to Seychelles Island because, you know, like I said lah, they cannot find a way to kill the king, because kalau diorang bunuh raja, rakyat di Perak memang akan marah kan. So they kicked him out to Seychelles, okay, off the coast of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. And then that was when Sultan Abdullah learned about this one song, and this song dia macam suka sangat dengan lagu ni, jadi dia bawa like macam melodi tu balik kembali ke tanah Melayu eventually bila dapat balik, okay, ataupun macam dia pass information. Dan lepas tu lagu tu macam a very popular song which also had an Indonesian version and also got like Hawaiian version that eventually became in Indonesia the song is known as Terang Bulan, and as you guys know Terang Bulan eventually became Negaraku. Okay guys, so like Raja Abdullah is very important. Okay, he was a part of the murder of a first resident in British punya officer was a resident in Perak. Then he also has something to do with the lagu that will eventually become kita orang punya national anthem. So very interesting story. So please guys, when you think of Raja Chulan, don't just think of the jalan, think of the fact that his father pun adalah banyak berbakti ke negara kita. Yeah, okay. So Raja Chulan, that's the guy. Muhammad Yunus Abdullah will talk about KMS after this. Alright. So again, kalau diorang nak beri idea, mereka nak menyebarkan pengaruh mereka, menyebarkan idea tentang kepentingan nasionalisme Melayu, how do they do this? Mereka menggunakan Warta Malaya, Lembaga Malaya, Utusan Melayu. All of these newspapers don't exist anymore except for Utusan Melayu. Okay, Utusan Melayu is now known as Utusan Malaysia. Still here today. Okay, so these guys, Raja Chulan and gang, mereka menggunakan all of these akhbar untuk menuntut hak rakyat. Okay, diorang nak tuntut hak rakyat, tetapi diorang pun macam tahu macam mana nak berbaik-baik dengan British. Kerana diorang tahu, okay, I kerja dengan British. I tahu British tak suka I gaduh dengan diorang. British memang paling tak suka kalau macam I keluarkan a sword, I try to beat them up, British tak suka. So I kena berbaik-baik dengan British. Macam mana cara untuk berbaik dengan British? Macam mana I nak berunding dengan British? So they use the newspapers to kind of write every day, like please, 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 please help us, please British, like that lah. Okay, a bit different from the other newspapers which is like, oi, British ni memang menindas kita. Obviously lah British tak suka. Okay, next one is intellectual yang berpendidikan Melayu. Kita ada SITC, Sultan Idris Training College atau Maktab Perguruan yang ditubuhkan pada tahun 1922. Kita ada guru-guru seperti Oti Dosek, Abdul Hadi Hassan, Abdul Hadi Abdul Manan, Harun Aminur Rashid, remember, Melur Kuala Lumpur. Mereka semua sebagai guru di SITC meniupkan kesedaran dalam kalangan pelajar. Kalau hari-hari dia orang ada kelas dengan murid-murid, dia cakap, okay guys, your voice matters. Your voice matters. Speak your mind. Speak your mind. Speak your mind. That's why eventually lahirlah ramai tokoh penulis dan nasionalis. Okay. Then on top of that, in SITC, very very important, diorang ada pejabat karang mengarang. Now, pejabat karang mengarang ni is an office yang ada ketua penterjemah. Ketua penterjemah ni, like the head translator, the head of the department is Za'aba, also known as Zainal Abidin. Okay, Zainal Abidin pun like seorang like nationalist, one of the earliest nationalists di tanah Melayu. Okay, so sebagai ketua penterjemah, Za'aba punya kerja is simple, nak hasilkan buku berkualiti, so kita boleh sell it to the people, they read about it, dan juga meningkatkan kesedaran, right? On top of that, mereka nak jadi pemangkin mengasah bakat pelajar. Kita pun nak cari, nama-nama baru, tulisan-tulisan baru. Kita nak asah bakat. We want to basically sharpen their skills. Mengasah bakat is sharpen their skills, sharpen their talent. Mana yang pandai tulis tetapi perlukan like tolongan, like pertolongan sedikit, maybe like you're a very good writer tetapi maybe you write a bit too long. Okay, basically clean up their writing so that they can produce the books, produce the essays. So these nationalists yang muncul akibat kepesatan karya pejabat ini termasuk Buyong Adil dan Abdul Hadi Hassan. So let's say Abdul Hadi Hassan, they're like, wow, dalam kelas kita nampak, wow, tulisan ni memang hebat lah, jom join pejabat karang mengarang, and then Za'ba will be there to be like, jom, I tolong you macam mana kita boleh sharpen your skills. And then eventually Abdul Hadi Hassan punya tulisan dan karyanya is able to be produced lah, okay? And then they print and then they sell and then more people read. Yay. Okay? And then diorang pun ada diorang macam bawa masuk bahan bacaan dari Timur Tengah dan juga Indonesia. That's why SITC, Kak Sarah cakap tadi, taman ilmu yang mendedahkan pembaharuan. So it's a medan ilmu. Everybody go there to study, everybody go there to read, to learn new ideas, and the more we read, the more we know. Okay, dan kurikulum SITC pun sangat penting. SITC menekankan mata pelajaran seperti sejarah. Kalau kita tahu tentang sejarah kita tahu tentang keagungan Empire Kesultanan Melayu Melaka. Kita tahu once upon a time kita memang one of the best. Kita empire yang unggul di Asia. Okay, kalau semua orang dalam dunia ni nak datang ke pelabuhan Melaka yang kecil tu, that means that kita memang ada resepi untuk berjaya. Kalau kita boleh buat dulu, we can do it now. Okay, so that's why it's very important to membangkitkan kesedaran. Diorang juga ada mata pelajaran anyaman. Okay, right there, very cute, anyaman. Telling them the importance of using your hands, craft tangan, sebab this is also part of budaya kita. Alright, budaya orang Melayu, dan juga kesihatan serta sukan, semua penting. Not just for you to hari-hari baca and tulis tentang kesedaran kebangsaan, tak. Go out there, be fit, be strong, be healthy, be creative. All of those things are important, okay? Dan juga pada tahun 1929 ada pertubuhan Ikatan Pemuda Pelajar dan juga Ikatan Semenanjung Borneo. They decided to join together and melahirkan persatuan radikal yang dikenali sebagai Kesatuan Melayu Muda. Nama-nama seperti Ibrahim Haji Yaakob, Ishak Haji Muhammad, all of those guys yang merupakan golongan intellectual, eventually they decided to come together to become Kesatuan Melayu Muda. So a lot of people can argue that Kesatuan Melayu Muda merupakan like parti politik yang pertama lah. Okay, and kenapa kita guna perkataan radikal? I want to be very clear, guys. Bila kita guna perkataan radikal, dia tidak semestinya always yang golongan radikal menggunakan kekerasan. Okay, radikal ini kita akan tengok dalam bab 5 nanti. Okay, kenapa British guna perkataan radikal? Radikal ialah golongan radikal adalah golongan yang tidak ingin bekerjasama dengan British. Okay, meaning that I don't want to work with you, I don't want to friend with you, I don't want to do anything with you. I want you to get out. Okay, itu idea golongan radikal. Okay, golongan bersederhana, okay, middle ground, don't want to fight. Golongan sederhana adalah golongan yang ingin berunding. They are very open to perundingan. They want to talk to you, they want to discuss. Jom kita duduk, jom kita minum kopi. How can we solve this? How can we come together? That kind of stuff. Golongan radical is like, no. Go away, go to hell, that kind of stuff. Okay, so later on kita akan tengok golongan radikal dikenali macam KMM. Later on you guys will know in bab 3 KMM ni banyak bekerjasama dengan golongan Jepun untuk macam masuk ke tanah Melayu during the Second World War. Okay, so kenapa? So yes, at first they are not necessarily people that believe in violence, tapi if they need to be violent, they do it. Okay, so radical is very in your face. I will beat you up if I need to beat you up. Okay, because I don't want you around. Leave. Okay, whereas golongan sederhana, we can think about golongan seperti UMNO. Nanti kita belajar tentang Malayan Union. Bila kita discuss tentang Malayan Union, ada banyak orang yang menentang Malayan Union. Obviously, banyak yang menentang Malayan Union ialah golongan orang Melayu. And a lot of the Malay people, instead of getting up to punch the British, what did they do? Dia orang tunjuk perasaan mereka. Dan mereka menggunakan persatuan seperti UMNO untuk menunjukkan macam mana dia orang benci sangat dengan idea Malayan Union. Dia orang nak reject Malayan Union. Okay, so UMNO is the one that would be willing to sit down, talk to the British and all that. Whereas golongan radical, they're like, get out. I will come up with all the plans for you to leave or else. Okay, so please know there's a difference between golongan radical and golongan sederhana. And again, radical just doesn't necessarily always mean that they are bad guys. It doesn't also necessarily mean that they are always willing to be violent. Only violent when they need to be. Okay, now kita nak tengok perjuangan melalui penulisan. Alright, of course, another way untuk berjuang, untuk menunjukkan kesedaran kebangsaan atau meningkatkan kesedaran kebangsaan is through writing. Okay, akhbar dan majalah very important. Okay, kita ada kaum muda, kaum tua, we already talked about that. Kita ada satu syarikat, it's a publishing company known as Syarikat Jelutong Press. They are the ones that press. Why is it called press? Because they are printing press. They are printing the newspapers and magazines. All right, so they are very important. in order to tolong peningkatan kesedaran. Okay, dan kita ada intelektual Melayu dan juga Inggeris yang terlibat dalam persurat khabaran. Kita ada Muhammad Yunus Abdullah yang menerajui akhbar, that means he was the leader of newspapers such as Utusan Melayu dan Lembaga Melayu. Kita ada akhbar seperti Warta Malaya, Warta Jenaka, Fajar Sarawak, Majlis, Majalah Guru. Kita ada pengarang, we've got editors of these newspapers like Muhammad Yusuf Ahmad, Muhammad Yusuf Abdul Hamid, Dato' On Jaafar, Abdul Rahim Kajai. Now this is the guy, Abdul Rahim Kajai is right here. We will consider him as Bapa Kewartawanan Melayu. We'll kind of consider him as the father of Malay journalism. So when we think about, penulis and, wartawan and akhbar, we always think of him. Okay, always this adorable batik here. Okay, so that's these are all the guys. Then kita tengok sini akhbar Inggeris, also very important. Akhbar Inggeris seperti Malaya Tribune dan Malay Mail yang memuatkan perkembangan tentang perkembangan sosiopolitik, sosioekonomi negara kita. Okay, so English newspapers are also very important. Sarawak, I already told you, right? There is Fajar Sarawak, Muhammad Rakaibi Yusof, Muhammad Awi Anang, Muhammad Daud Abdul Ghani, Haji Abdul Rahman Kasim. All right, and in Fajar Sarawak, so Fajar means in English is like dawn, right? Getting up. Right, kita bangun. That's why diorang cakap Fajar yang telah tersingsing, bangunlah wahai bangsaku. So Fajar Sarawak digunakan sebagai saluran untuk meningkatkan kesedaran rakyat, and also to get them to get up and realize that it's time for us to bangun. We want to make changes in our land, we've got to get up. Okay, dan in Sabah mungkin tak banyak akhbar because Sabah punya perkembangan nasionalisme is a little slower than other people because of diorang memang tak ada banyak orang yang push untuk education. So a lot of them, diorang punya isu pendidikan, tanah bumi putra, kewangan petani, semua disuarakan oleh ketua anak negeri. Ketua anak negeri is like their leader lah, their local leader. Okay, they are like pembesar like that. Except it's not really, we don't really call it pembesar. It's just that ketua anak negeri is they are in charge of all the penduduk tempatan di Sabah. Okay, so that's that. Of course, akhbar masyarakat China dan India very important because obviously akhbar China untuk orang Cina yang tinggal di Tanah Melayu dan juga akhbar India definitely berbahasa Tamil. So we see dengan editor bahasa Cina. Now, kita ada akhbar Cina yang ingin mengekalkan identiti mereka. Okay, so back then banyak akhbar Cina hanya mementingkan apa yang berlaku di China. Mereka ingin menyemai perasaan cinta mereka akan negara mereka, ingin memperjuangkan nasib wanita, mengekalkan identiti mereka sebagai orang Cina. It's because, for a long time, a lot of the people that came here, yes, someone's messaging. Oh, okay, sure thing. Sure thing. Thank you, Farhana, for explaining. So, sorry I had to put that out for everybody. So like I said, akhbar diorang ni sebenarnya sama je dengan akhbar Melayu, ingin memperjuangkan nasib orang. And a lot of the, orang Cina yang datang ke Tanah Melayu, masuk sebagai pelabur ataupun masuk sebagai buruh, mereka masih, they still see themselves as Chinese people. They're just Chinese people who are from China, they're coming here to Tanah Melayu to work. Okay, so orientasi mereka, aspirasi penulisan, semua cenderung ke arah negara asal. It's really because they still obviously see themselves as Chinese from China. So Lat Pao, modern daily news. Then in the 20th century, kita ada Nanyang Sung Hui Pao dan juga Chong Sin Yit Pao. Mereka semua juga macam beranilah to talk about pergolakan politik di China, masalah pemerintahan monarki, this is during the Sun Yat-sen Revolusi China time. And then 1929, penulisan mereka tukar sikit, shift a bit, bersifat anti-imperialisme. Because memang dia tak nak campur tangan kuasa luar. Dan tahun 1930-an dia orang tukar juga dengan yang Siang Pao. Dan yang Siang Pao still here guys, still a newspaper. Di Pulau Pinang ingin memperjuangkan soal kesatuan sekerja, all the unions, all the groups that is there to take care of the rights of the pekerja in Tanah Melayu or especially in Pulau Pinang, dan juga keadilan sosioekonomi bagi masyarakat kelas bawahan. Banyak orang Cina yang masuk sebenarnya semua dijadikan buruh. So obviously hidup buruh you think is very, very rich. You think they got 4-5 mansions. No, right? They're very poor. So they need somebody to fight for golongan kelas bawahan. So that's what Nanyang Siang Pao was doing. Okay, so banyak akhbar-akhbar Cina tu hanya like focus on their own identity dan juga community mereka and whatever that's happening back in China. Okay, whereas in India, diorang macam unfortunately they're great newspapers but they don't get to last very long. Mereka beroperasi dalam tempoh yang sangat-sangat singkat, so they go in and out, sometimes got, sometimes don't have. Okay, so again, diorang punya, they do focus on what's happening overseas, tetapi banyak newspaper and akhbar semua memperjuangkan kepentingan politik dan sosial untuk masyarakat India di negara ini. So in Tanah Melayu, what about the rights of Indian people? Like where they come in as buruh. Do you think that orang India yang masuk sebagai buruh, mereka pun like deserve a chance to have a better life? Yes. Just because they are masuk ke Tanah Melayu doesn't mean that they are just like, foreign workers, we don't like them. No, it's about, okay, kalau diorang masuk sini, diorang tinggal kat sini, diorang nak datang sini untuk dapat pekerjaan, diorang datang sini sebab diorang nak earn money, so boleh hantar duit balik. Sama macam kita, kalau kita pergi kerja, walaupun kita rakyat ataupun penduduk tempatan, penduduk asli di tanah ini, kita pergi kerja untuk apa? Supaya menampung perbelanjaan untuk keluarga kita, right? It's just enough for me, take care of my family, I want to pay my bills, right? Sama saja dengan penduduk ataupun sama saja seperti masyarakat India. Alright, so that is why Tamil Nesan, Tamil Murasu, later on kita ada akhbar The Indian Pioneer. Mereka ingin memuatkan pemikiran dan juga kepentingan perpaduan bagi masyarakat kelas menengah India. So later on, it's not just about the rights of the buruh, all the pekerja yang datang kerja di Tanah Melayu. It's also about the middle class. Okay, kelas menengah is middle class Indians in our country. Where can they live? What can they do? What can they not do? For example, guys, you guys, I don't know whether you guys follow some of these groups on Facebook ataupun you guys ikut on like social media. Tapi ada some Facebook groups actually tell us about sejarah apa yang berlaku di Penang, let's say. Macam sesiapa yang pernah pergi Penang, pernah makan kan kat kedai sup kambing known as Hamidiyah, right? So ada banyak we don't know actually cerita Hamidiyah ni dulu British sebenarnya tak bagi sesiapa yang macam pedagang India untuk buka kedai ataupun macam jual rempah ratus kat kedai, like actual physical kedai. So all of these pedagang ataupun macam pekerja, diorang nak jual diorang punya rempah ratus, British tak bagi diorang tempat untuk buka, untuk macam jual macam kedai cantik, kedai biasa, tak bagi sebab takut that masyarakat India atau masyarakat lain that is not British will be the one earning money. Obviously British don't want them to earn money, so diorang kena macam buka kedai diorang and macam like a hawker stall under the tree, and then they make it into a soup sebab diorang nak orang try apa itu rempah ratus yang dibawa masuk, get people to know what is it. So Hamidiyah came from a really interesting space. So again here, why is it that, so that's why we need akhbar to ask like, kenapa British tak bagi kita orang macam buka kedai untuk jual rempah ratus? Apa motif British ni kalau tak bagi kita nak buka kedai untuk jual rempah ratus? Kenapa British tak bagi kita jual rempah ratus dalam macam dalam masakan? Kenapa? Again, because British hanya mementingkan diri sendiri, hanya mementingkan kejayaan sendiri ataupun peluang ekonomi sendiri. They don't care about everybody else. So all of these newspapers are very important. Okay. On top of that, kita ada Tamil Nesan yang diterbitkan oleh peniaga India, also to talk about what happened in India, apa perkembangan, whatever that's happening with Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, okay, juga tentang kepentingan sosiopolitik masyarakatnya. So like, okay, we know what's happening in India, but like, what about our rights here in Leah? Like, the British cannot be treating us like this, because we come in and we contribute to the economy. So everybody has the right to talk about their opinions, and how do they do it? Melalui akhbar. Okay? Okay, everybody understand so far? Okay, now kita nak tengok karya kreatif. Sekejap. Dengan karya kreatif, okay? Again, karya kreatif, apa tema mereka, all the stories are the same. Mungkin diorang punya storyline tak sama, judul title buku semua tak sama, tetapi diorang punya tema semua sama. Semangat cinta akan negara, perjuangan membela nasib bangsa. Kalau we don't have this tema, then it's just an everyday typical book. Seperti novel Mari Kita Berjuang. Guys, you already know. Nama novel pun dah cakap, mari kita berjuang, jom let's get up and fight. And ditulis oleh Abdullah Siddiq. I want to say get up and fight don't mean like go get up and fight and punch somebody in the face. No, I'm saying mari kita berjuang, kita bangun dan kita bangkit untuk apa? Untuk memerdekakan diri dari aspek ekonomi. So always remember this, guys. Kenapa British tak nak bagi kita peluang ekonomi yang banyak? Kalau diorang bagi kita peluang ekonomi yang banyak, maksudnya kita orang ada duit. And you know that's the thing, guys. Money makes the world go round, right? You got money, you can buy. You got no money, you sit down, right? So kalau diorang bagi kita peluang ekonomi, British pun bagi kita peluang untuk dapat pendidikan, kita akan bangun dan macam, wow, sebenarnya I bukan bodoh, I pandai. And sebenarnya apa British buat ni, diorang tipu kita tu. And then on top of that, kalau kita duit, kita macam, why do I need you? Get out, leave my land, right? So kalau diorang tak bagi kita peluang, mengahadkan peluang ekonomi kita orang, then kita tak dapat duit. And then if we don't have any money, then can we say anything? We can't. So mari kita berjuang, mengajak masyarakat untuk memerdekakan diri dari aspek ekonomi. If you earn your own money, you don't always rely on the British to give you money or give you jobs, any sort of peluang ekonomi, then you don't need the British. Dan sebenarnya kita boleh merdekakan diri. Kalau kita tak ada duit sendiri, kita asyik kena tunggu untuk orang lain tolong kita, kita tak akan merdeka. We will never ever be free. Understand? Okay, it's like every one of us, okay? Dulu bila Kak Sarah pun macam remaja, kalau nak keluar pergi jumpa kawan, nak pergi Starbucks RM10, RM20 nak minum kopi, tapi tak ada duit. So kalau Kak Sarah dulu tak bagi duit, then how am I going to go to Starbucks, right? So am I merdeka dari segi ekonomi? No, I'm not. I have to listen to my mother because my mother say, I'm not giving you money to go. I don't want you to go. So I have to sit down and shut up forever. See? But when we earn our own money, if today my mother say, don't buy the coffee, I have RM20, I can go and buy. Understand? So that's the maksud of Mari Kita Berjuang. Kita juga ada puisi yang bertemakan cinta akan negara seperti Angan-Angan dengan Gurindam yang ditulis oleh Omar Mustafa, Sedarlah yang ditulis oleh Mahmud Ahmadi, guys. I can't even tell you like what do you think the poem is about? Sedarlah, bangunlah. Okay. Semenanjung ditulis oleh Harun Aminur Rashid dan juga Serunai Pujangga ditulis oleh Abdul Samad Ahmad. Okay, dan kita ada cerpen, short stories tentang semangat berjuang, nasib bangsa dan cinta akan tanah air. Kita nampak karya Ishak Haji Muhammad atau Pak Sako, Rumah Besar Tiang Sebatang. Think about the imagery, guys. Rumah besar tapi tiang sebatang. You think the asas of the rumah is good? Obviously it's not. Okay, kita ada Abdul Rahim Kajai, cerita Awang Putat dan juga Samsudin Saleh. Di sini kita bukannya orang dagang. Orang dagang means foreign people coming to do business. Okay, so trying to tell everybody, oi, kita kan penduduk asli dan penduduk tempatan. We were here first. So we shouldn't be treated like rubbish people. The British should respect us. Okay, so that's karya kreatif, very very important. Alright, now kita nak tengok perjuangan melalui persatuan. Sikit lagi, guys. Okay. So sini kita ada perjuangan melalui persatuan. So tadi kita nampak, gerakan intelektual di sekolah, and then kita ada karya kreatif, ada yang rajin baca buku, baca cerpen, baca puisi, baca akhbar, baca majalah. Then kita ada manusia yang macam betul-betul tak nak baca any of those things, and mungkin tak ada access, mungkin malas, mungkin tak adalah, just no chance, right? So now kita ada perjuangan melalui persatuan. Persatuan dalam bahasa Inggeris ialah association, dia groups, right? So at first dorang semua benda biasa, sosial budaya saja. Okay, how do we like mempertingkatkan budaya kita, memartabatkan bangsa kita, that kind of stuff. Tapi eventually semua persatuan ini dijadikan persatuan politik. Politics to get up and fight for our rights, right? The first one, the OG of everything, must talk about Kesatuan Melayu Singapura, or known as KMS. Okay, that's the guy right there, Muhammad Yunus Abdullah, merupakan the one that menubuhkan KMS pada tahun 1926. Basically, KMS simple. Siapa yang join sebagai ahli KMS, please lah, kalau you aktif dalam pentadbiran British, that means pentadbiran negara, tolonglah memperjuangkan hak dan kepentingan orang Melayu dalam politik dan juga pendidikan. Dan juga mementingkan pelajaran teknik dan pengajian tinggi. So, your job, you're working in the administration, you are a member of KMS, your job is simple. Go and work with the government every day, pressure the British. Hello, orang Melayu bila nak dapat pendidikan? Hello, orang Melayu bila nak dapat pelajaran teknik? Hello, orang Melayu bila nak dapat universiti? Hello, orang Melayu bila dapat pergi universiti yang besar-besar and dapat diploma, dapat degree? Bila? Okay, that's KMS's job. Okay, and so KMS was so successful that they orang buka cawangan KMS di tempat lain. So KMS is di Singapura, right? So they open up cawangan lain seperti Persatuan Melayu di Selangor, Persatuan Melayu di Pahang, Persatuan Melayu di Negeri Sembilan. Okay, semua KMS punya members ni dianggotai, okay, oleh kaki tangan kerajaan. So all the people that work as government servants with the British government. Okay, so they work with the British. At the same time, they also please bagi can ke orang Melayu masuk dalam pentadbiran. Okay, sebab lebih banyak orang Melayu atau penduduk tempatan masuk ataupun diserapkan dalam pentadbiran British means that more and more people get the chance to learn to do things the way the British do. So if we learn from the British, then one day we give like, okay boss, you show me already how to do, I can do. So if I can do, you leave lah. Okay, that's the idea. Next one is persaudaraan sahabat pena, juga dikenali sebagai PASPAM. Okay, so PASPAM ini bukan macam, dia sebenarnya bukan persatuan yang bersifat politik lah. Sebenarnya it's actually untuk bersatu dan juga bertukar pendapat. Sahabat pena, you know, sahabat pena is like, sahabat pena is pen pal. So I don't know whether you guys know the concept of what is a pen pal. Maybe today you guys just like follow somebody on TikTok. But once upon a time, if you want to have friends from overseas, you don't make dances with them and duet with them on TikTok. You have to write letters to them. Okay, so let's say I have a friend in Poland. I'm like, hi, girl from Poland. My name is Sarah. I'm from Kuala Lumpur, from this country called Malaysia. I am Chinese/Malay. I am Muslim. Let me tell you about my Muslim culture living in a multiracial country such as Malaysia. My favorite food is nasi lemak. Do you know what is nasi lemak? Oh, nasi lemak is this, right? So then that friend come back to me, write a letter to me. Oh, I'm from Poland. I did this, right? So kita bertukar pandangan ataupun kita tukar kita punya information, maklumat, alright? So here, kalau kita orang join PASPAM, it's untuk bertukar pendapat. I write a letter to somebody from Sarawak, and Sarawak bilang, betul lah, dia pembebasan dari cengkaman penjajah, I support your idea. Jom baca buku ni, jom baca buku tu. So that's why we exchange ideas with each other, okay? So PASPAM mula di Pulau Pinang tahun 1934, and then eventually went all over Tanah Melayu from 1934 to 1939. Okay, and then how is it that mereka dapat menyatukan pergerakan orang Melayu? They knew that orang Melayu ni at that time dia orang bersifat kenegerian. So kalau I kat Pahang, I only care about what's happening in Pahang. Apa kisah kat Kelantan? Apa kisah aku? I tinggal kat Pahang kot. I masuk ke Kelantan? No, so I'm only going to care about Pahang. But here, with PASPAM, dia orang cakap it's very simple. Kalau kita nak dapatkan kemerdekaan kita, kita nak, you know, jadi kawasan yang merdeka, then we have to come together. So that's why they came together melalui Congress. Congress is like a persidangan, it's like a big meeting, okay, untuk menghimpunkan wakil Persatuan Melayu dari Brunei, Labuan, Sarawak, sit down, have meeting, have teh tarik and talk about mana kita nak utarakan isu kebangsaan. Apa itu kebangsaan? What is kebangsaan? In English, it's known as national, right? That means all over the country. Kita nak mempertahankan hak orang di Pahang, tapi juga tahu pentingnya untuk mempertahankan hak orang di Kelantan. Because what's important to Kelantan is also important to Pahang. Because if Pahang is free, then Kelantan is free. So that's how we have to work together with each other. Okay? And in Sarawak, kita ada Muhammad Rakawi Yusof, the one who is part of Fajar Sarawak, yang menjadi pengasas PASPAM, Cawangan Kuching also has very good relations with the guy from Muhammad Yunus Abdullah punya KMS, and so belajar tentang KMS, belajar macam mana untuk menubuhkan PASPAM Cawangan di Sarawak. Okay, together with Johari Anang mengasaskan Persatuan Melayu Sarawak. So tengok ada banyak persatuan yang ditubuhkan because mereka terpengaruh dengan idea-idea di tanah Melayu. Okay, so PMS, very bad name for this, but Persatuan Melayu Sarawak was formed in 1939. Okay, and then when we talk about Sabah, banyak Bumi Putra Sabah bergiat aktif dalam persatuan. Okay, kita orang ada cawangan PASPAM di Jesselton, di Kota Kinabalu, di Tawau dan juga Labuan untuk meningkatkan kesedaran sosial. I already told you guys, di Sabah mungkin tak banyak sangat kesedaran politik. It's more about kesedaran about like, jom kita bangun dan pergi sekolah, belajar, kind of stuff. Okay, so banyak ahli PASPAM, mostly are guru Melayu, pegawai rendah kerajaan, they work for the government, ataupun peniaga. Okay, people like Muhammad Yaakob, Muhammad Samsudin Osman, and Zakaria Khan. You will see all of these names again in bab. Okay, if no questions, I will move on. This one very important, guys. Okay, untuk Kesatuan Melayu Muda. Okay. Let me try to see if I can try to condense this for you guys, okay? So KMM, you guys already know, it's basically ikatan, okay? Di Tanah Melayu dan juga di Borneo under this SITC. And sebenarnya idea ini datang dari gagasan, that means idea, Ibrahim Haji Yaakob pada tahun Mei 1937. So Ibrahim Haji Yaakob is like, macam mana aku nak put together a group that is to fight for the rights of Malay people and also to menyatukan orang Melayu, especially among the orang muda, youth. So mereka menubuhkan KMM Mei 1937, tetapi dia orang daftar in 1938, officially lah registered as a party. Okay, so KMM macam mana dia orang menyebarkan pengaruh mereka melalui akta majlis. They bought the newspaper, by the way, in order to give more like to have control over the newspaper, and mereka berhasrat untuk menentang British. And so what they wanted in KMM is untuk mewujudkan idea yang dinamakan Melayu Raya. Apa itu Melayu Raya? It's going to come back to you in bab 3, okay? Melayu Raya merupakan gabungan tanah Melayu dan juga Indonesia. They want to join Indonesia and tanah Melayu as one pentadbiran, one country lah, okay? And so KMM was not afraid to menyeru kepada orang Melayu, sila bangun, ya, sila tahu kita satu bangsa yang mempunyai tamadun dan kesopanan di tanah air kita. We need to get back what is ours, okay? And so when they are getting up, talking to people, writing in a newspaper macam mana British menindas rakyat and all that, British memang menganggap KMM sebagai radical kerana mereka berani untuk menyuarakan penentangan mereka terhadap kerajaan kolonial. Mereka berani membangkitkan perasaan anti-British. Guys, we have to know, okay? Time ni kan, in the 1930s, 1940s, you berani ke nak cakap macam tu tentang British? You tahu tak, if you say anything bad about the British, where you going to go? You're going to go to jail. You're going to suffer. So, Ibrahim Haji Yaakob and gang, mereka tak takut. Mereka macam, it's time to fight with you. Because I don't want you here. I want you to leave. I nak menggabungkan tanah Melayu dengan Indonesia, dijadikan Melayu Raya. I don't want the British around anymore. And that's why they're so brave to write about it in the newspapers and majalah. And later dalam bab 3 kita belajar macam mana mereka bekerjasama dengan Jepun. Are you surprised? You're not surprised because mereka betul-betul nak menyingkirkan British dari tanah Melayu. Okay? So that's why they're called radical. Now, let's talk about Persatuan Masyarakat Cina dan India. Okay? So talk about this a bit. Before Second World War, okay, again, macam akhbar mereka, banyak orang Cina, okay, dan masyarakat Cina menumpukan perhatian di China. So really, they only see themselves here to work in Tanah Melayu and then go back to China, right? And of course, revolusi, Dr. Sun Yat-sen, revolusi di China, obviously menjalinkan hubungan dengan pemimpin negara kita. So you got pemimpin negara, sorry guys, I meant to say pemimpin China di negara kita. So a lot of local leaders, leaders of the Chinese community, the rich merchants and stuff. So Dr. Sun Yat-sen, okay, bila dia, nak dapatkan sokongan rakyat, especially sokongan masyarakat Cina, came to visit negeri-negeri Melayu bersekutu, sebanyak 4 kali. So Dr. Sunil Asad came to visit 4 times. Why? Because he knows that a lot of Chinese people di Tanah Melayu, okay, di Pahang, di Perak, di Selangor dan juga Negeri Sembilan, because negeri-negeri Melayu Bersekutu merupakan kawasan yang kaya dengan biji timah. And most of the Chinese people at that time, mereka bekerja sebagai pelombong di kawasan negeri-negeri Melayu Bersekutu. Okay, so he visited 4 times because nak dapatkan sokongan untuk menentang kerajaan Manchuria. Okay, so a lot of the persatuan is there in order to fight for the rights of Chinese people back home in China. Tetapi ada juga alright, masyarakat Cina yang memberi perhatian kepada kebajikan dan perkembangan politik tempatan seperti orang-orang yang dilahirkan di negeri-negeri Selat. The people that were born in negeri-negeri Selat or raised in kawasan negeri-negeri Selat, specifically Malacca, Penang and Singapore, mereka dikenali sebagai Cina Peranakan. For you guys who don't know, Cina Peranakan would be like the Baba Nyonya community. Siapa sini tahu tentang golongan Baba Nyonya? Nobody? Well, my family is Baba Nyonya. So my family specifically from Malacca. So Baba Nyonya, budaya Baba Nyonya is very, very important in my family. Okay, so golongan Cina yang dilahirkan di negeri-negeri Selat, they don't see themselves as orang Cina datang dari China. Okay, they see themselves as Chinese, Straits Chinese. So when you say negeri-negeri Selat, Cina Peranakan, you can call them Straits Chinese people, okay, because they were born in the Straits States, negeri-negeri Selat. And so they see themselves as Chinese community living in Malaya. They are from Malaya. Okay, so mereka berpendidikan Inggeris seperti Tan Jiak Kim, very important guy. Mereka menubuhkan Persatuan Orang Cina Peranakan British known as the SCBA di negeri-negeri Selat, because majority of the Chinese people who see themselves as Malayan Chinese, they are from negeri-negeri Selat, right? So that's why their persatuan is around there. And then this persatuan, apa penting kepada mereka? Untuk menggalakkan pelajaran tinggi dan teknikal antara kalangan masyarakat Cina, and also to fight for the rights of the Chinese people who see themselves as Malayan Chinese. So golongan Cina Peranakan ni, we are a very special group of people. So sesiapa yang tak tahu tentang golongan Baba Nyonya, Baba is what we call a Chinese, like a Straits Chinese guy, right? A Peranakan man, and Nyonya is what we call a Peranakan woman. So you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen pictures of like baju kebaya Nyonya, okay, the one that they wear with the they also have like sanggo in their hair, they have like all the brooches and stuff, the kind of words that we use in order to talk. So banyak idea golongan Cina Peranakan ini, dia orang macam it's actually, they are very influenced by budaya Melayu, okay, budaya Melayu di Tanah Melayu. Tapi dia orang macam, they marry it, okay, they kahwinkan the idea of like orang Melayu to like their campur with their Chinese culture. So it's like a rojak really, guys. It's a rojak of like, it sounds Malay, it looks Malay, but it's Chinese, okay? They have very, very specific words. I don't know whether you guys have ever heard of them. For example, you guys have heard of things like okay, so something that let's say for example my grandparents, like if they are like macam ada orang like buat dia orang terkejut kepada dia, say like, oh, ku semangat, right? Maybe they will say like macam you want to say, oh, benda tu kenapa you masuk rumah macam tu, you tak bagi salam ke orang, you buat sosia is like, for example, you buat macam you buat keluarga you malu lah, you're embarrassing your family. So these are words sebenarnya that kita guna actually is some words that are Malay inspired, but they are part of this Peranakan community. So really, guys, this is one of the ways untuk menunjukkan masyarakat majmuk kita ada di negara kita. You know, macam mana kita ada konsep asimilasi. How is it that we can take idea and budaya orang Melayu, still be respectful to budaya orang Melayu, but then make it like their very own idea. So that's the idea of golongan Cina Peranakan. Okay, so if you guys have more time to learn about it, those of you who have no idea, I would advise you guys, sila lah, YouTube is very helpful. Just type golongan Cina Baba Nyonya di Melaka ataupun di Singapura atau di Penang, okay? Apakah makanan yang diorang makan? Diorang punya makan pun macam very, very similar to makanan orang Melayu, the ingredients they use, so many different types of ingredients. So guys, really, I would encourage you guys to please learn more about this, because the more we know about each other, then well, we can actually be the jawapan kebat that we really want to embody, and that is kepentingan untuk kita bertoleransi. Macam mana kita nak dapat sikap toleransi terhadap kaum lain kalau kita tak tahu dia orang apa. Kenapa kita kena tunggu untuk orang lain cakap ke kita, okay, I'm a Hindu person, I don't eat, I don't eat beef, or I'm Muslim, I don't eat pork, or kenapa I tak makan pork. Kenapa kita nak macam, oi, you bodoh ke apa, you tak tahu, I tak boleh makan ni. Apa kata kalau kawan kita tak tahu, we actually have to tell them. So as Malaysians, ini memang jawapan kebat okay? Ini betul-betul jawapan kebat. Kalau kita nak ada sikap toleransi, kita kena faham dan menghormati kaum lain. Kalau kita tak belajar tentang kaum lain, we are never going to be able to respect each other. Okay, so again, kalau tak tahu, jangan buat macam tak tahu and then just buat bodoh. Kita kan ada Google, kita kan ada buku sejarah. Kalau susah-susah, next week tak tahu apa-apa, just ask Kak Sarah, can you tell me a bit more about Muslim people in our country? Can you tell me more about Hindu people? Can you tell me more about what is a mamak person actually? What is the difference between a mamak shop and an Indian shop? Got difference or not? All of these things, guys, you should know. Ini sebenarnya tak ada alasan dah, kita memang semua rakyat Malaysia. Okay, it doesn't matter who is more important. What's important is that we have to work together with each other. Okay, only way for our country to become great is if we know about our sejarah and we also know about each other. Okay, so Straits Chinese, very important. Most importantly, kita ada nama 1915. Kita ada nama lelaki ini Tan Cheng Lock. Usually Kak Sarah akan refer to him as Tun Tan Cheng Lock because he was given the title already, gelaran, okay? So Tan Cheng Lock berusaha untuk menghidupkan cawangan SCBA, not just in negeri-negeri selat like Penang or Singapore, tapi menghidupkan cawangan ini di Melaka dan juga menuntut peluang berkhidmat dalam perkhidmatan kerajaan. So Tun Tan Cheng Lock later on will be a very, very valuable member of Parti Perikatan. So very, very important for us to mendapatkan kemerdekaan kita pada tahun 1957. You guys have also seen his name dalam bab 5 bila kita discuss tentang AMCJA. So Tun Tan Cheng Lock is a very, very big believer in fighting for the rights of Chinese people, but also fighting for kemerdekaan Malaya. So just please remember, guys, he's not just somebody known to help just Chinese people. He really wanted the best for everybody. Okay, and so that's why Tun Tan Cheng Lock menuntut peluang untuk berkhidmat dalam perkhidmatan kerajaan. He die want to be part of kerajaan British because he wants to help to push for people's rights in the kerajaan. Okay, so Persatuan Masyarakat Cina, very, very important. At the same time, kita ada di India. Alright, pertubuhan awal untuk again sama macam Akbar menjaga kepentingan masyarakat India. Kenapalah kita buka atau menubuhkan persatuan? Obviously kita nak tolong kita orang punya group, right? Kita orang punya masyarakat, right? So kalau kita ada UMNO, United Malays National Organisation, right? What is it for? Obviously untuk membela kepentingan masyarakat Melayu. Right, so that's the whole point of an association or a persatuan. So kita ada Persatuan India Taiping, kita ada Persatuan India Pulau Pinang, okay, and then kita ada pada tahun 1927 Persidangan India Semelaya, all over, Indians all over Tanah Melayu come to Kuala Lumpur, and then eventually all the other negeri pun ada this persidangan, this meeting. This persidangan membincangkan isu yang berkaitan dengan masyarakat India. Kita ada GV Taver yang menubuhkan Malayan Indian Association. Okay, don't confuse this with MIC. We'll talk about MIC another day. Kenapa ada ni Malayan Indian Association khas untuk macam basically to fight for the rights of golongan India yang dilahirkan di Tanah Melayu. Okay, so yeah, if you're Indian from India, well, cool, great. You only see yourself as Indian from India, fine. But what about the Indians who are born in Tanah Melayu? Like, who are they? Are they not people of Malaya because they were born here? Like, they are born here, they've never been to India. So, kalau kita nak guna perkataan-perkataan seperti pendatang, ini sebenarnya perkataan yang salah lah, guys, okay? This is something I really need you guys to know. Jangan guna perkataan pendatang. Jangan cakap kat kawan kita yang bukan golongan Melayu to say, oh, pendatang. you leave, balik lah negara asal. Macam mana nak cakap nak balik ke negara asal kalau let's say this Indian guy was born in Tanah Melayu? Nak balik mana? Balik ke Selangor, because that's where I came from. I was born in Selangor, right guys? So again, don't worry about this ugly word. Kalau kita betul-betul menghormati kaum lain, then we know that when we are rakyat Malaysia, we shouldn't tell each other that we are pendatang. Okay, there really is no such thing anymore. Okay, maybe you want to use the word pendatang a long time ago. Okay, fine, because mereka baru datang. Tetapi ada banyak dalam kalangan kita yang have been here forever. So takkan nak jeruk kat Sarah pendatang kalau tak suka balik ke China. Macam mana nak balik China? Like my family is all here. Do I cut my body into half? Is it half my body sent to China, the other half stay in Tanah Melayu because my father's Malay? Is it? So again guys, kita patutnya lebih sensitif dengan perkataan-perkataan macam ni. Alright? So again, it's not wrong untuk golongan lain untuk nak tanya ataupun untuk nak memperjuangkan hak mereka because they were born here. Okay, so in October 1936 kita ada Central India Association of Malaya, dikenali sebagai CIAM, yang ditubuhkan di bawah pimpinan Dr. A.M. Susay. So CIAM ni kan dia orang pandai. Kenapa dia orang guna perkataan central? Central ni macam pusat kan, okay? So dia orang cakap, okay, kita kan ada 12 persatuan India dan 4 Dewan Perniagaan, 4 business halls, 12 small associations, small groups. Apa kata kita macam satukan semua, kita gabungkan semua and then to become this CIAM because kita lagi banyak resources kan. Sumber kita semua boleh gabung and we can use it and then help everybody. Right? Instead of 12 groups, only target small areas, might as well group everybody together as one. Okay, mereka mengembangkan idea nasionalisme orang India di Tanah Melayu dan juga menjaga kebajikan mereka di Tanah Melayu. And on top of that, CIAM was so popular guys that bila Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru sampai ke Tanah Melayu in 1937, CIAM was the one that basically menganjurkan this meeting. Who is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru? Sesiapa yang dah lupa? Remember guys, eventually he became the first Prime Minister of India. We have definitely talked about him before with all the people like Mahatma Gandhi, where we talked about perkembangan nasionalisme di India. Okay, then kita ada masyarakat Sikh yang turut terlibat dalam pasukan keselamatan yang menjadikan beret polis atau kuartus kerajaan. So the Sikh community, mereka ada gurdwara. Gurdwara is like their version of their temple. Okay, kalau kita sebagai umat Islam ada masjid, Chinese people ada kuil, Indian people who are Hindu have kuil, the Sikh community have a gurdwara. Okay, so where do they go in order to talk about nationalism? Right, gurdwara tempat yang sangat penting untuk mereka mengembangkan kesedaran politik, especially those yang sebenarnya anti-British. Macam British sebenarnya tak jaga kita tahu. So that's why in 1902 Khalsa Diwan Malaya ditubuhkan di Taiping di Perak menjadi persatuan yang sangat berpengaruh untuk menjaga kepentingan masyarakat Sikh. Okay, again there is a Sikh community here, so we also have to respect that. Okay, what about Indian Muslims? Indian Muslims, what about them? They are Indian, but they are also Muslims, right? So obviously their way of life and the way they do things is very different from, say, maybe Central India Association of Malaya, because maybe the majority of people in CIAM are Hindu, right? So obviously pegangan agama tak sama. So obviously budaya kita pun tak sama. So golongan masyarakat India Muslim ramai melibatkan diri dalam kegiatan perniagaan dan pentadbiran. So just think of like, you know, your mamak guys, okay? And then you think about Penang. You think about all the guys who are Muslim, but they also look Indian, right? Why? Because of this, okay? So Sir Hussein Hassanal Abdul Qadir merupakan ahli dalam Majlis Perundangan Negeri-Negeri Selat ataupun dikenali sebagai the Strait Settlements Legislative Council. Mana kita nampak Legislative Council ada kena mengena dengan perundangan. Majlis ini sangat penting untuk menggubal undang-undang di negeri-negeri Selat. Right? Please write that down. Okay? Strait Settlement Legislative Council atau Majlis Perundangan Negeri-Negeri Selat, apa kerja dia orang? Untuk menggubal undang-undang di mana? Di negeri-negeri Selat. Apa itu negeri-negeri Selat? Penang, Melaka dan juga Singapura. Alright. Ada soalan? kesan perkembangan nasionalisme actually guys. We really look at it. Every time kita tengok kesan is impact. Okay. Yes, Putra.
Kak, so kiranya time masa ni banyak persatuan ditubuhkan lah sebab nak jaga diorang punya puak-puak.
Bukan puak lah, kaum lah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Oh, after Merdeka ni persatuan-persatuan ni dah tak ada lah.
That's okay. Mungkin okay, I cannot confirm or deny. Tetapi ada banyak persatuan ini eventually akan macam dijadikan persatuan lain ataupun digabungkan dengan persatuan lain. Later on kita nampak macam all the other persatuan, not all of them survive. Maybe dia masih dijadikan persatuan, tapi ada banyak nanti yang dijadikan macam parti politik. Okay, untuk memperjuangkan hak mereka. Okay, dalam like arena politik untuk like to lead the country, right? So persatuan is still there. Like if we go to like a few village areas, smaller towns, mesti ada punya persatuan. Tapi again lah, is whether orang tu rajin ke tak. Tapi persatuan tu memang is still there. Not to say that all of them died and not to say that all of them dah tak relevant dah. Tetapi masih ada masyarakat Sikh di community kita. Masih ada masyarakat obviously golongan Cina, ada golongan India. So they have again persatuan, and parti politik nanti kita nampak is quite different from each other. Okay, so I wouldn't know if all of them is or completely died already, tetapi some of them are still around. Okay, again, bila kita persatuan, kita hanya ingin like tolong that. The persatuan is just an association to like talk about that particular people or maybe to do like social activity. Okay, tapi parti politik is like when they join and become part of the kerajaan. Okay, so like macam kita join persatuan I don't know, persatuan sahabat pena lah, okay? So we are our focus is just to write letters to each other, right? Okay, so maybe it still stays, maybe it's still going on, ataupun maybe dijadikan benda lain, berkembang menjadi benda lain, macam like I said just now, berkembang untuk jadikan parti politik. Okay, because right now, kita mana ada cara dapat kemerdekaan. At the time, sekarang kita barulah nak orang tahu dan ada kesedaran tentang, tentang what's happening in our country. So if we don't even have people that know, then how to become party politic? Okay? Any other questions? Thank you, Putra. It's a very good question. I will go research for you. Soalan lain? Anybody? So, bila kita nak tengok 2.8, next week Kak Sarah nak masuk untuk bab 3 untuk ulang kaji, bab 3 bab ni sangat-sangat panjang. So, kesan perkembangan nasionalisme is like this. Okay guys, kesan is impact. Apa yang berlaku akibatnya perkembangan nasionalisme. Ada baik, ada tak baik, right? Okay, obviously di sini kita nampak ada kesan yang sangat mendalam. Kita kena tengok dari 3 aspek ya, dari aspek politik, dari aspek ekonomi dan juga sosial. Alright, so obviously dari aspek politik, apa yang berlaku? Do we get more chances, lebih banyak peluang untuk mendapatkan pekerjaan, mendapatkan lebih peluang untuk dapatkan jawatan dalam pentadbiran kerajaan, and then dapat mendesak British untuk menukar dasar-dasar mereka. That's very important. Dari segi ekonomi, as you guys know, we really need money. A lot of us are very poor. Macam mana kita nak meningkatkan hidup kita, right? And then kita ada dari kesan sosial. Kesan sosial usually ada mengena dengan pendidikan. And this person right here, Ibu Zain, very important. She was a very important person. So mungkin next week Kak Sarah will talk a little bit about her. Ibu Zain is kind of like should be your hero lah, because really tanpa Ibu Zain untuk memperjuangkan hak-hak anak perempuan Melayu di Semenanjung, it would be very difficult for a lot of girls to get access to education. So really I owe her, because if there is no Ibu Zain, there really is not a lot of us. Okay guys, any soalan? I will kind of discuss. This one you can read on your own. We can do some soalan together. Kak Sarah boleh bagi kerja and then you guys can jawab. But next week maybe I'll talk a little bit about Ibu Zain. And then I also want to talk about bab 3, tingkatan 4. Okay, minggu depan. Okay guys? Can ah?
Boleh.
Okay, if all is okay, inshallah next week I will see you. Alright? Bye guys. Enjoy your Saturday. Bye.